you don't have analytics installed on your website, you're making a big mistake. Hi, my name is Darren Belanco, founder of OnlineThinking.net. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up and install Google Analytics on WordPress. Let's have a look. If you're getting started online and you don't have analytics installed, you are making a mistake, because this is the only way that you're going to truly know what the visitors on your website are doing and how they're interacting with the pages and the content that you have on your site. And a great way to do this is by using a free tool that's provided by Google called Google Analytics. You can come over to their site called Marketing Platform, or you can simply search for Google Analytics in Google. And once you arrive to this site, you'll see that you land here, and you'll see there's a button here saying Start for Free. You can just click that button, and you'll be asked to sign into an existing Google account. If you don't have a Google account, just create one, and you will then be prompted to the next step of the setup, which is to create an analytics account. Once you've either created your Google account or logged into your existing Google account, you will then be presented with the Welcome to Google Analytics page, where you'll be able to set up a brand new analytics account for your website. So what you're going to do here is just hit this blue button over here saying Set Up for Free. And once you've selected that button, you'll see a page that looks like this, where it says Create Account and Account Setup. This is where you're going to name and create your analytics account for your website. So over here in this box, you can just go name it whatever your company name is, or the name of your website. So in this case, we're doing it for a client, so we can just name it the client name, or we can go and name it for our business account. And over here, you've got a bunch of checkboxes where you can just select that the data that's being tracked on your website and on your analytics account is going to be shared with Google. So you can just leave those all checked over there, and then you can hit the next button. Now, in the next step of the setup here, you're going to be asked what you want to measure. And this is if you're going to measure the analytics of a website or of an app or of both. In this case, it's just going to be for your website. So you can select the website option, and you can then go and hit the next button. Now, in the final step of the setup, we are here at the property details section. Over here where it says website name, you can just enter the website name or the name of the client's business or website. So in this case, we're going to put KD Solutions. And then over in the website URL, you can select in the drop-down menu here if it's a HTTPS site or if it doesn't have any security certificates there. So our site does not have security certificates at the moment, so you can select that. You can go back to your website, and you can just paste the domain name in there. You want to paste it in without the HTTP and without any slashes. Over here, you can just go and select the industry that it's in, or you can just go and select Other. And then here's the reporting or time zone for your Google Analytics account. You want to get this right, because otherwise your real-time reports and when your data gets pulled through to the account isn't going to be correct, and you're going to have some delays there. So select your country where you reside in, where you want the data time zone to be synced to, and then just hit the Create button. Perfect. Now our brand new analytics account for this particular website has been created by Google. Keep in mind that on your Google Analytics main account here, you can have multiple websites, and you can set up multiple analytics tracking codes for multiple different websites. So that is something to keep in mind. And you will see here at the top, it'll give us the full tree of where your websites are. So you can see here we created this under Optimus Clients, and there's the new client that we have created the analytics account for. Over here is your tracking ID, which is the unique identifier for your Google Analytics tracking code. Whenever you get asked for your analytics tracking ID, this is the code that you're going to need, or this is the code that you're going to look for to go and put this into whatever tracking plugin that you are going to be using. Now that the account is set up, there are still a few more tweaks that you need to do to the account in order to set up a few other things, such as your retargeting audiences, your goals, and just other few settings that I like to do on my accounts. So we are going to go through those settings now. Now, the first setting that you want to go and change is under the Property Settings tab. If you go into the Property Settings tab, you'll see some of the settings that we initially set up before when we set the profile up, such as the name as well as the URL. However, there are a few other settings here which you need to enable to get the additional analytics features. You want to select this Allow Manual Tagging UTM values, and this is for some more advanced tagging. Once you start running Google ads and you start generating some traffic on your site, you can go and generate unique links where you can have manual tagging values to override the default tagging, which allows you to know exactly where your users and your visitors are coming from. If you don't understand what this is right now, it's not that important, but I would recommend that you just go and check this box. And over here in the next section, we'll see here is the advertising features. This is useful when you are running paid ads. However, this data is also useful for just your normal analytics data. And if you don't turn this little toggle on over here, your site won't by default generate any analytics in terms of the age and the gender and the demographics of the users on your website. So I would recommend, regardless of whether you're running paid ads or not, that you enable this demographics and interest reports. Here's some more advanced settings over here. I'm not going to explain exactly how the enhanced link attribution works. However, I would recommend you just go and click this little toggle on over there. Further down the page here, if you have a Google Search Console site, this is where you would go and connect that site. You would hit this button over here and it will allow you to link your site to Google Search Console. If you don't have your website added to the Google Search Console yet, I will show you how to do that in another video. However, that's more of an advanced analytics tactic, and that's more for your organic search rankings, so that's not really what we're focusing on here today. We will come back to that at a later stage in another video. Once you've turned on all those settings over there, you can hit the save button. Everything will save there now, and that's all you need to change under the Property Settings tab. The next tab that we have available to us is the Property User Management. This tab doesn't have any settings there. That is if there are additional users other than yourself, such as an agency or someone in your company who needs access to your analytics stats, you can then go and add them under the Property User Management tab. We are then going to move on to the next tab here, which is the Tracking Info. The first section here is just where we can get our tracking code. And the next section over here is the Data Collection tab. This tab is very important, and a lot of people don't come and activate the toggles inside this tab because they think that if they're not running paid advertising now, it's not necessary. However, I would urge you to go and activate all of the sections in the paid advertising, because by activating all of your audiences now and all of these features now, your analytics tag will start building those audiences for you while you're building your website and your business. And then when you're ready and you're at the point that you want to go and implement a paid advertising strategy, you don't have to go from start to build an audience at that point when you're ready. You'll be able to hit the ground running with the audiences that have already been building from when you started your website. So this is why this is a very, very important step, and I recommend you don't miss this. Where you want to go on this section over here is just to the remarketing over here, which is going to enable some data collection on the paid advertising side of things in their display and search network remarketing campaigns. And you'll see once we turn that on, we're going to get some more reporting features here, and then you can just hit the save button. Once that's saved, we'll be able to move on to the next step. There's nothing else here in the Tracking Info tab that we need to go and change now. However, there are a few things further down the list which I would recommend that you go and do. If you have a Google Ads account, I would recommend going to the Google Ads linking here, and you would then go and select the Google account which pulls up, and you would then link that account to your analytics account. That will then help optimize conversions on your Google Ads accounts, and you can then also import any goals that you create on your analytics account directly into your Google Ads account. This particular client doesn't have a Google Ads account, so we are not going to activate the Google Ads. However, if you do have a Google Ads account, this is a must do. Then the last setting that you want to go and look at and change under the Property Settings menu is under your audience definitions over here. If you just go through to the Audience Definitions menu and click the Audiences link, you'll see you're going to be brought through to the audiences page. And this is where we will set up our audiences now that are going to be gathered and saved for paid advertising and retargeting purposes in the future. This is really easy, so you don't need to feel overwhelmed about it. And one of the audiences is already half set up for you once you get started here. You'll see that the first tab here, you can't really edit it with as much data, so you can just keep it as it is set up here with all website data. And what that's going to then track is all the actions that users make on your website, as well as all the users coming back to your site, whether they are new users or whether they are returning users. You can then just hit the next step button over here, which will enable your remarketing audience list. And this will be an audience for all users who have been active on your website in the past 7 days. And you'll see that this audience that Google creates for you first is completely uneditable. And then the last step, you can then just go and select the analytics account that you want this audience to be connected to. So of course, the analytics account that we are working on right now is for the client KD Solutions, and this is the audience that we've just created. So you'll select the account there and go enable. You might get some errors on the account when you save it. Don't worry about these errors, you can just close them. If you really feel worried about it, you can hit the enable button again, and you'll see then, once you've saved your audience, you can come back to the audiences tab over here under audience definitions, and you will then see that our audience that we just created with all users was created today, and you will see that it's open, the membership is open, which means it's still collecting users' data, and it's an audience which is just in the analytics account. Now that we've set up our audiences, the analytics account is 99% set up. There's just one last thing which I do like to change. As you can see here, this up top here is called All Website Data, and that's just the view for this particular website property. This is more of the advanced settings that you will get into once you start getting e-commerce onto your site and when you start dealing with subdomains. But under here, there's nothing really important that you need to fiddle with right from the start. The one thing you might want to change is just go into your view settings. And once you're in your view settings there, you can just go and change that to the company name or the website name again. You can do that over there. You can scroll down to the bottom here, and you'll see that this currency here is in US dollars. This isn't too important now because we don't have any e-commerce tracking on the site, so there's not going to be any values being pulled through. But when you do install WooCommerce or e-commerce on your website, you're going to want these things to display correctly. So you can just change this now in the meantime while you're in the menu here. You can just select that to South African Rand, and that will just make sure that when you're trying to calculate goals and values of goals and transactions that have been made on your site, it will pull through in the correct currency. And that's it. Now your Google Analytics account and your tracking code has been set up correctly. Now all that's left for you to do is go and take this code and implement this and install it onto your Shopify store or your WordPress website. There are many ways that you can install your Google Analytics code on your website. There are ways using the Google Tag Manager. You can also do it manually in the code of your theme on your website. And there are also a lot of plugins and themes that are available on the WordPress plugin library that will allow you to do this really easy where there's no tech configuration needed. You can simply go and enter your analytics tracking ID. It will log into your Google account. That will then automatically connect to your analytics account, and that will then help you set up the tracking on your site without having to worry about placing the code in the right place and making sure that it's firing properly. So now that the code's set up properly, we can head over to our WordPress dashboard where we are going to use a plugin to install this code onto our website. The plugin that we are going to use today for this is a plugin which is made by Google called Google Sitekit. And the reason I like to use this plugin by Google is because, first of all, if I'm going to be integrating Google Analytics onto a website, I want to make sure that it's going to be integrated properly. And by using a Google plugin, they are going to be the first to make sure that their plugin is working properly with their software that they provide. And another reason is because the Google Sitekit plugin has a lot of additional features in it which allow you to connect your website to their other tools such as Tag Manager, their page speed insights, as well as Google Optimize. and that can get really handy once your website starts growing and you start tracking these additional metrics. So you can head over to the WordPress plugin library and search for Google Site Kit, and then you can just hit the Install Now button. Now that our plugin's installed, we can just hit Activate and wait for that plugin to activate. And now that the Google Site Kit plugin has activated, you'll see that in the plugins here, you'll get a dialog that pops up here saying that the plugin's now activated, but our site might not be ready. All you need to do is hit the Start Setup button. And this plugin is a really nice plugin because it's going to walk us through the setup, and it pretty much does the entire setup for you, and you just need to go and select the correct analytics account. As you can see here, they just need us to verify site ownership, set up Search Console, and we can simply hit the Sign In with Google button. Over here you'll get your Google account. You can just select the account that your analytics account has been created on. And then over here you just need to hit the Allow button to give permissions to this plugin to access that account. We are then brought to another step over here where we need to just verify site ownership by hitting the Proceed button. And what the site verification is Google simply is going to add a small HTML code to the site, which allows them to know that you actually have ownership of this website. And you'll see now we are verified as the owner of KD Solutions, and we can now allow access to the Google account data. Here it's asking us if we want to set up Google Site Console. We're going to have to do that, so you can say Add Site. And Google has taken care of everything for us, and we can now go straight to our dashboard. The plugin is now installed now, and as you can see, they've got a really nice user interface here. You can see that they've already created a Search Console account and connected it to the website here. And you can see here we're given some other options for AdSense, Analytics, and the Page Speed Insights. The option we are going to select here is the Google Analytics option. So you hit the Connect Service link, and we'll then be brought to this page where we start getting connected to the Google Analytics service. And you will see here it's automatically brought in all of our accounts that we have available to us. It's brought in the exact property here, which we can see by our client name KD Solutions. And here you'll see the exact view. And this is why I wanted to just show you the final step of the analytics setup where you rename that view, because that comes through nicely there. Once you've then selected all of your correct properties and views here, you can then just hit the Configure Analytics button. Your site will then load, and there we have it. We are connected to Google Analytics, and if you scroll down here, you will see they've got a really cool dashboard here which brings in all of your analytics data, everything that's going on your organic search results as well, and it brings through the stats really nicely here into your WordPress website. And the best thing is you can really trust that this plugin is going to work on your site and you're not going to have any problems or issues going forward. There is one last thing which I want to show you on this plugin, which stumped me for days. If you have a membership website and you want to track logged in page views, there is a setting here that you are going to need to change, because by default when it sets up the analytics code on your site, it only tracks logged out page views. And if you have a membership site and you need to know how people are moving through the content of your membership site, you're going to have a problem with this. And I struggled with this for a couple of hours before I found this setting, so I want to make sure that you know exactly where it is. From the dashboard of the Google Site Kit plugin, where you want to go is over here under the Settings tab. And you'll see every single time that you connect a new service, you'll get a new link for that service under the main Google Site Kit tab over here in your WordPress dashboard. Now once you've hit the Settings link, you'll come to the main settings for each of these services here. You'll see that your Search Console doesn't really have much settings here, but it does pull through the URL just so you can make sure that it's connected to the right website. Under your Analytics settings here, this is where you're going to get the settings for the logged in and logged out users. You will see it pulls through our account ID, our property, and the view. It tells us that the snippet has been inserted on the site. Here's just a more advanced setting for your IP address being anonymized. And over here is the sneaky little setting for logged in users. And as you can see here, it says excluded from analytics, logged in users. And that means that whenever someone is logged into your website, like an administrator or an editor or even a customer, they are not going to be included in your analytics stats. Now this can be useful sometimes if you don't want the members of your website or the customers of your website to obscure the stats of your store or the front end of your site, then keep this as it is. However, if you have a membership site and you need to track how the users are moving through your site and consuming the content on your site, this is going to be an important setting that you need to be able to change. Okay, now you'll see that the settings have loaded here. We've got the property here as selected before, and this is just saying that we're allowing this plugin to put the Google Analytics code on our site. Here's the IP address setting, and here's the toggle for logged in users. As I said, I struggled for hours to find this little setting here. So if this is something that you need to have included in your stats, this is where to find that. So you can just turn that off and then go confirm changes. That will then save, and you'll then see here excluded from analytics. Analytics is currently enabled for all visitors. And there you have it, everyone. Google Analytics is now connected and set up on your website. And a very easy way to go and test and see if this is working on the site is if you just go to one of the pages on the website and you head back to the analytics account, you'll see that there is a real-time tab. You can just go to the overview section of that tab, and if your tracking code has been installed properly on the site, you should be able to see the data being pulled through real time of the pages that you are visiting. So you can see now it's pulling us through on the home page of the website, and if we now go visit another page on the site, we should see that changing in our analytics account as well. We're going to go through to the shop page of this site, and then from there we'll navigate to a few other pages and see if it's tracking correctly. We are now on the shop page. We can go back to our analytics account, and you'll see that our movement through the website has just been tracked. We can then go and maybe select one of the products on the site, and then once the page has loaded, you can then go back to your analytics account and you can see if it's going to load here. There might be a little bit of a delay, as you can see over there, but you can see that the product LED USB light page has loaded, and that is exactly the page that we are on now. There are some more advanced ways to find out if your tag has been installed properly on your site by using the Google Tag Assistant Chrome plugin, but that is a little bit more advanced and that can also get quite confusing. Well, that's it for today's video, everyone. If you got value from this video, feel free to like it and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week.